Hello, sacred beings of dark and light. Welcome back to week 11 of Solstice Echoes. Today I wanted to take you on a journey, a medicine walk through the forest, or my local urban state forest. And as we start a medicine walk, a journey into finding more information, there's a process of smudging, which I actually already did before I left. I smudged with Palo Santo, and my intention was to come to this place, which is near a Cedar Grove, and smudge here. But I found that the journey had already started to begin for me. It started with a squirrel hiding slightly behind the trunk of a tree, looking at me. I said hello to the squirrel, and I wondered what information he was bringing to me. He started to go up the trail, and I thought, oh, maybe he's going to lead me somewhere. And he verged off onto another trail into an area called Tryon Community, I think. Someplace that I've considered volunteering at, but have not yet made that decision. But I went on to a different direction, my initial intention. But it made me think of the paths that we choose in our lives. Do we follow another, or do we take our own path through? The second thing that I saw as I came up here was that of some horse manure in the trail, because there are also sometimes horses on this trail. And it made me think of avoiding the shit along the way. Next, I came to a spot where the sun was shining so brightly through the branches. And I stood there with my eyes closed, and I saw like a focal point where the energy was going toward. So it told me to remain focused on my journey. And I'm hearing some people come, so I'm going to let them pass.
There'll be a lot more questions. Start. Good afternoon.
Hi. So I was there with the sun, my eyes closed, and a focal point being shown in my vision, which told me to remain focused on my own path. And the final thing that I saw before I came to this spot was something in the dirt that made me think of crocodiles. Just the form of it made me imagine that, and I thought of avoiding the crocodiles, the things that can emerge and try to throw you off your path. So I'm not sure whether I said what the intention was today, and that is to honor our sacred fire. How can we honor our sacred fire? It's a little bit between that of how can we tend to our fire, the fire within our belly, so that it is glowing at a steady pace, not too low, not too high. But also, I wanted to reiterate or bring in the qualities of self-love, of how those places that we're not honoring in our sacred fire, those unrequited parts of ourselves, how we have unrequitedly not self-loved ourselves. I hope you get the idea anyway. In general, the idea is about maintaining self-love and how we can expand that in our lives in the ways that it has perhaps not been as available to us. As I hear another person on the trail coming forth, but they're going the other way, so that's great. But I want to remain true to my intention today, which was to start from this point, which is a short path into a cedar grove that in a sense is a piece of my inner fire. Cedar is a name, a spiritual name, that I received from the ethers many years ago and did not fully understand the meaning of why it was coming forth. But you'll see that the energy of cedars comes forth in my energy and in the drawings that I do. So with that, I'm going to smudge here again. And right now I have some sage, just a piece of sage. Another person coming. And I have some cedar. And the idea is to clear our thoughts of other things, to focus our intention, to clear other energies before we go into pay attention to the signs and symbols that greet us, that will provide more information about honoring our fire. So here's a little smudge, just to clear the energy and prepare to settle in our focus into ourselves. And tell the universe that we are on this path together today. Of course, make sure that it's out before I put it back into my bag. Okay, I'm gonna get up now and then I'll turn the camera back. Okay, we're back now, and I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're just going to look for signs to honor our sacred spirit. All right, and here we go. Just the camera to the path. And this is a new gizmo for me, so I'm still kind of trying it out. I'm going to let the camera go on the trail as I sense into information about our sacred fire. I'm seeing the residue of cow manure, horse manure, of things being digested, perhaps, of decomposing. Things that we can allow to decompose so that new things can come into light. Go up a little bit here. Show more of the path. Maybe that would be more interesting, huh? Oh, I forgot one aspect that I saw when I was walking earlier, and that was to look up at a hillside and to see the expanse of it before the spring when the leaves have not yet come out. And here we're entering the Cedar Grove. As I begin to feel the energy of the cedars. And the way that the light hits the trees. Right? They always seem to have a glowing effect to me. Like, what is the glow in your fire? Do you know what glows it up and what dampens it? Where does the light come from as you see it going through the trees? And what shape might it form? The cedars, they always have all of these interesting shapes to them. My attention is drawn to leaves from fall still decomposing. Again, decomposition are two things that in two different ways. A lot of branches that are also on their way to decomposition. And then a spot of light where the sun is beaming. The decomposition is making me think about how we need to make space. We have to allow things to decompose and be released before the new can come in. As we're tending our fire, we're throwing in things to be burned that will ignite us, but we know in the end will fall away. Will be consumed. It's a process of coming in and going out, always. And now I see this one piece of ivy here. Oh, there's a few. And then they're on the trees as well. It's a problem here, or a perceived problem here, because they wrap around the trees and will kill the trees. It's an invasive species here that it grows so well. I wonder what's perhaps wrapped around our sacred fire that's trying to kill it off. that needs to be cut away so that our sacred fire can actually burn and come alive. What's smothering our sacred fire? And what's coming to mind now is that we see these, it's English ivory is what this is, and as an invasive species, and the bad things that it can occur. And I'm not sure that I know the qualities, the medicinal qualities of English ivy, if there are any. But another invasive species here is the Blackberry. And I recently watched on Rose Mountain Herbs a video about Blackberry and some of the medicinal qualities of it. And she was linking to some other herbal plant that was being overused or was not readily available, but that the blackberry was something that could be used instead, and was of course more prevalent because of the fact that it is considered invasive. So how can we switch out what we're used to using or having within our fire into something else that can also be of service? And not harmful to ourselves or to others or to the earth, such that there's more balance. There's more balance in the way that we use our resources, more balance in the way that we utilize our fire. What are the kinds of wood will we burn our fire with? Will we burn the one that is least available just because that's what we prefer? Does that provide us with sacredness? Does that provide the earth with sacredness? I'm drawn to this particular cedar here. I always like to touch the energy of trees and allow whatever energy they have to gift me to come through. So I'm just going to lean on this sacred tree because it is a part of my sacred fire. And sometimes when I'm here, I will note whether a tree is a guardian or a mother or a father or a teen, some other generation of a family. because it seems that this is my sacred fire, my sacred family, my sacred way of being in the world. And that feels like a nice way to end this journey of honoring our sacred fire. Thank you for coming today, and I'll see you again soon.